Welcome to my personal archive. I am the Keeper. This isn't just a crime channel, it's a record of our fascinating inability to be normal. Here, we open doors that should have been locked forever and analyze the fingerprints that darkness leaves behind. If you seek comfort or easy answers, this isn't the place for you. But if you have the stomach for the naked truth, pull up a chair. I have the keys. In the Soviet Union of the 70s and 80s, the standard image of collective authority hid individual aberrations. The state could spy on you, but ignored well-educated monsters with Communist Party membership cards. Anatoly Slivko was one of those, a model citizen, a socialist pioneer, a lover of youth, in the most literal and repulsive sense possible. Slivko was born in 1938 in the Caucasus region, a regular boy, son of a Red Army officer. But what set him apart was invisible, a mind that treated empathy as a useless variable. He grew up in a regime that denied psychopathy while producing it on an industrial scale. At 15, Anatoly witnessed a brutal accident, a boy run over by a car at high speed. The instant death, the contorted body, should have caused shock, nausea, maybe nightmares. Instead, they triggered an avalanche of sexual arousal. Yes, you heard that right. The boy died, and Slivko discovered lust in trauma, a psychological imprint recycled for decades with near-scientific precision. Anatoly would become, on the surface, a youth educator and leader of a patriotic club called Sherzhid. A project aimed at boys, of course. His talent now was manipulation, molding, producing victims with Soviet precision. He had no tattoos, no thirst for adrenaline, just a raw need for repetition, a fetishist of trance, unconsciousness, and the thin border between life and death. Between 1964 and 1985, he lured at least 7 boys with a fixed script. Selection, simulation, recording, elimination. The approach was simple. As a youth leader, he offered boys the chance to participate in a documentary on the effects of physical suspension on human physiology. Sounded scientific enough, and that's exactly what made it believable. The ritual always began the same way. The organization's uniform, the promise of helping in the experiment, and the opportunity, tempting for a Soviet boy, to be filmed. The USSR loved educational footage. Then the setting, a remote forest. The boys were convinced, or pressured, to wear school uniforms, be tied up, and suspended for a controlled amount of time. The goal? Induce unconsciousness through restricted blood flow. Slivko claimed it was all part of a research project, and in a sense he was being honest. He was studying himself, his desire, with coldness. Summer of 1992. Soviet Union dead, transition to wild capitalism underway. But in a city as generically named as Angarsk, in Siberia, a specific aberration was born. Mikhail Popkov, off-duty cop, devoted husband, and serial killer on a distorted moral crusade. Popkov is the kind of creature that could only develop in a vacuum of authority. When the system collapses, some people fix the debris, others dig graves. Officially, Popkov patrolled the streets, seeking order in the post-Soviet Russian decay. Unofficially, he cruised the night in a red Lada, offering rides to unaccompanied women. Some trusted him because of the uniform, others because they felt they had no choice. None of them walked out of his car alive. Between 1992 and 2010, Popkov killed at least 78 women. He may have killed over 100. His victims shared similar profiles: young, between 16 and 40 years old, alone at night, usually near bars or parties. He claimed he acted in the name of moral purity, moralistic delusion mixed with pure misogyny. He believed women who walked alone at night were promiscuous and deserved correction. Correction in this case meant torture, murder, and disposal in ice-covered forests. Popkov had two modes of operation: the improvised hunt and planned executions. In the first, he drove at random hours, waited for victims in vulnerable states, drunk, scared, distracted, and convinced them to get in the car. In the second, he planned days in advance, wore civilian clothes, altered routes, and changed shifts to create alibis. The pattern: absolute control. The murder weapon varied: axe, knife, iron bar, rope. Unlike many serial killers who maintain symbolic consistency, Popkov preferred Russian pragmatism. He used whatever was at hand. Some died from stabbings, others from blunt force trauma, others by strangulation. The method didn't matter. Discipline did. At home, the contrast was grotesque. Married, with a daughter who described her father as affectionate and present. An award-winning cop with a clean record. He even received an honorable mention for fighting crime while carrying out nightly executions as a subterranean hobby. For almost 2 decades, Popkov got away. Part due to luck, part due to the brutal incompetence of the authorities. In times of transition, the state's priority was survival, not investigating female corpses in poorly disguised graves. The victim count grew in silence like fungus under wet concrete. The turning point came in 2012. DNA samples collected years earlier and tossed aside were finally cross-referenced in an expanded database. Popkov's DNA surfaced: simple, clinical, definitive, like stroganoff without cream.